I keep forgetting we're not in love anymore. I keep forgetting things will never be the same again. I keep forgetting how you treat me wrong. I keep forgetting, cause every time you do, sorry. Welcome to the Shoulda Shared the Sugary Shenanigans Shadow Work Shapeshifter Shangri-La and Shameless Shit Show Emporium, also known as the New Earth Architect Podcast. I'm your host, Spencer Kyoshi, Sydney Polk. Love, light, and blessings. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Have we taken a breath today? Take a couple. With me. That's how we'll start. That was one. That's all I got right now. Tell you why. I've been breathing a lot. I've been breathing in and I've been breathing out. And I've been fortifying and I've been intentionally creating certain kind of energetic boundaries and looking to bring myself to a bit more clarity so that I can navigate myself through this interesting, to say the least, world around us. Now, I don't know what you're experiencing. There's a lot of stuff out there in the zeitgeist, in the media, in the social media landscape, in your home, in your workplace, in the reality that you perceive to be. Now, for me personally, if you've known me for any length of time, especially for the last 7 years, I've been out there in the world and speaking to people about certain things and people coming to me about certain things regarding the state of the world and what that looks like. Mostly things on the connected to the thread of conspiratorial. Also connected in that same vein, the spiritual and the ethereal, having to do with light versus dark and certain kind of forces that are out there running amok. And I try not to have too much of an opinion on things, right? I try to just be very aware. I become aware and I look at this data. And either you decide from that point, right, how much attention and energy and time you want to give that data. Now, for me, what that tends to lead to is um, preparation, right? Um, Preparing in a manner to where, let's say, if we're talking about the political landscape, which affects commerce, and commerce affects the economy, and the economy affects what things we consume and how, um, we need to prepare in a certain kind of way for that, right? Um, but also the preparation of, we don't know anything really that's to come, right? Intuitives and light workers, and even just, um, good old salt to the earth, common folk. I think the consensus is that something is afoot, that there is a shoe that is going to drop, whatever that means to you. So, that being said, we can look out into the world and say, well, there's shoes dropping all over the place, right? Nothing is afoot, no pun intended, foot, shoe, shafoot. Put your foot best, put your best foot. Never mind. What am I talking about? I'll tell you what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the things that we perceive to be quite surreal or crazy or dangerous or chaotic or things that represent a shift in our reality, in the world that we are used to or accustomed to. Big dynamic changes taking place that sort of imply, um, I don't know, imply to some, the element of fear. So I guess I'll cut to the chase. What I'm talking about here is Diddy. Did he not? Did he diddle? Don't know. You decide. Talking about the Jay-Z's, the Diddy's, the Epstein's, the wars that are taking place all over the world, the shapeshifters, the Illuminati, the drones that are penetrating our earthly landscape. Drones, UAPs, UFOs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, right? Adrenochrome, right? So all of these things, I'll first and foremost say that this is for entertainment purposes, and then I'll have to say words like allegedly, right? I don't know anything, right? Anytime we make conclusions, I guess we're sort of closing the door to exploration. Anyway, but these things are existing, right? At least within our reality. I get a lot of feedback from people saying, well, this is just a distraction. The government is distracting us by, dangling out this information out in the media. And this is what they want us to see because they want to scare us, right? So either it's the Diddy's and the Jay-Z's and the Cosby's and the Jello puddings and the Rudy's and the blah, 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 or it's the aliens, right, coming from the sea, and different prophecy and elements of revelation taking place, right? How do you unpack and unfold all this stuff? What it has a lot of people doing is picking sides and giving a lot of energy, time, and attention to these things either way. Um, so, for my take, not that you asked, but it is a podcast, right? Um, is that look, these things aren't mutually exclusive, right? That's the main thing for me. Is that look, governments around the world have been very good, right, at propagating certain information and utilizing it and weaponizing it in a fashion that allows for more control of the masses. Okay, that's the name of the game. So it's not as though, like, Diddy allegedly didn't do what Diddy did. Damn it. Um, and that they're distracting us from what Diddy done did to deviate our discernment in looking at the information regarding, like, say, UFOs, or what they're doing with healthcare, or what they're doing with our food. Like Bill Gates allegedly having $1 billion contract with Coca-Cola and Pepsi regarding nanotechnology in your soft drinks. Gonna have to change the name from soft drinks to hardware drinks pretty soon, right? So these things are mutually exclusive. The point is that this can exist because we're starting to peel back the layers and the facade of the pierced veil, right? Um, but these things are being used in a certain kind of way to, yeah, to shift the narrative, to shift the conversation. Right? I hope that all makes sense. I know I sound a little bit disjointed right now because I'm a little bit tired. So, in a nutshell, to me, yeah, it's all going down, right? The WEF, World Economic Forum, and Klaus Schwab, digital currency, biometric scans, AI leveraging for weaponization against the people, um, which I don't want to sound like an alarmist, right? And it sounds quite alarming what I'm talking about. Um, but that's when it comes to us regulating ourselves and calibrating ourselves and fortifying um, our intuition and our sharpening the tools of intuition and discernment and understanding that what we're seeing is what we're seeing, right? I know that that is also dependent on where you're gathering your information and data from, where you're getting your news from. There's a ton of stuff out there in social media, Instagram, TikTok, the book faces, the MySpace, the WhatsApp, you know. Um, but it's your responsibility. It's our responsibility to, if we're going to munch on this diet of media and thumbnailism and sensationalized fodder, then, well, um, be ready to have a way of processing it healthily to where it's not fucking up your pivot. I know that there's a big sort of joke out there about um, okay, cool. Aliens are here. Do I still got to go to work? The government's doing this, that, and the other. Now we know, do I got to pay taxes? That, my friend, is up to you. Whew, right? But yeah, so I'm acutely aware of what's taking place out there. Sometimes I get a little, bouts of doom scrolling and ultimately doom strolling, which is, taking that and sort of sometimes internalizing some of the shit and walking about with it. You know what I mean? That is energy, that is frequency, that is connective energy. And we must make sure that we are transmuting that energy. For those of you who may not understand some of the spiritual lingo, not that I always just speak in those terms or what have you, but that is taking one type of energy and turning it into another, right? So that is something that I think we all have in our toolkit. Not, I think we know that we all have in our toolkit that we can be doing with this information. And what that possibly looks like is sitting down, becoming still, engaging your breath, taking these thoughts and moving them from the sort of compulsory reactive mind and say, what is this actually doing here? How do I actually really feel about this? And is this making me present in a certain kind of way to where it is creating, right? Um, a projecting element that is bouncing back to myself, right? That's a mouthful. I know. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, so the information is there, the data is there. We just want to make sure that we're not caught up in the web of it allowing to dictate and sway our judgment in so far as how we want to craft our life moving forward, or at least the ambiance of our life, right? Our life is our life force energy. It's our existence. It's our breath. It's us just being here. That's it, first, fundamentally, you know? Um, but yeah, there's a lot going on. And I'm not a masochist or anything. I'm not a glutton for punishment, and nor do I want to see people become hurt. I don't want to see um, a loss of life, even if that is a CEO of a major health conglomerate that has done things to undermine, right, uh, the natural rights of other human beings. Um, you know, but I will say, excuse me, that from my view, I understand or understand. That's one of the words that we use in the spiritual community, right? That's probably my first time using that. I understand. Um, that in order for something new to grow, the old way must die, right? So if we're seeing these systems and structures that we have built, even though the people at the top are more, there's more responsibility there in regarding to how that's being gate kept and what it's doing. um we've allowed things for a very long time. So when these structures and systems begin to crumble and begin to fail, because of the fact that that must happen in order for us to see and have a point of reference as to what we want to change from and to, right? You know, then we have to understand that that is part of the process, right? We have to say, okay, well, shit, what does government, an unsustainable government built on lies and falsehoods, and manipulation and control and power, what does it look like when that starts to fail, right? So to circle back around, right? So we can use a number of different things: the education system, healthcare system, our food and agriculture, our political environment, geopolitics, and geoeconomical standards making big dynamic shifts, right? What does that start to look like in it, and what do we do? Well, what we do is we prepare as best to our ability based off of what, um, how we choose to look at this information. We can go, business as usual. Also, and I'm talking about more of the actionable sequence. I'm not necessarily saying just energetically or spiritually, and you know, I'm talking about in the more tangible 3D world. Also, talking about water and water filtration tablets and food and first aid and seed banks and possibly a little piece of land somewhere outside of the urban sprawl, the city, right? Understanding that at some point that we might have to sort of uh, pull back our level of dependence on the convenience of the things which we've built, right? Because in the long run, we're seeing once again that these things are unsustainable. And not only are they not unsustainable, but truth be told, the universe and God has its way. It's unsustainable because of what it's rooted in: selfishness, greed, money, materialism, opportunism. Is that a word? Opportunisticism. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying, don't you? So yeah, we're starting to peel back the layers of a very seemingly dark underbelly of, and I will say, segment of society. It is a segment of society. Hollywood, the media, and I know that it's all sort of make believe and fairy tales and this, that, and the other, but now we're actually seeing behind the curtain and what that actually looks like, right? What, the what the foundation of your entertainment and your distraction looks like. It looks like abuse. It looks like trafficking. It looks like, right, some hedonism in a certain way, and that's believe it or not. And I'm not saying that that's light fare. Look, baby oil and parties, you know, with people doing what they do, I'm not going to say it's normal, but I mean, uh, that's what we're seeing sort of on the superficial layer, the Diddy Dermis, right? Underneath of that, right? There's something far more, I don't like to use the word sinister, but yeah, you know, and that's when we're talking about a deeper level of abuse and pedophilia and um, human trafficking and possible ritualistic sacrifice. And, you know, we're hearing that, right? It's not just me, right? Even though, like, you know, I was talking about this shit 7 years ago and people were like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? When I was living in my Nissan Quest, making jewelry and selling art on the road, in the beach, at the beach, under the sea. Oh, Disney shit. Sorry. I'm fucking up here. I don't know. But it was only a matter of time, right? So people started getting an inkling of this stuff, you know, a while back. And I'm not going to get all political about it, but when they were talking about Pizzagate and all this weird kind of shit that was happening, and some of the people that might be involved in this, whether it's the Epstein files and list and flight logs and all this kind of stuff, you're seeing all these power players and, you know, whether they be political placed people or you know, people within politics or and powerful positions that way. That's a lot of peace. Or whether it be you know, on the celebrity side and entertainment in Hollywood, like you get a car, you know, and some of the other uh degenerates rhymes with, I don't know this though, you know, but we've been hearing this. We've been seeing sprinklings of this in the media, right? But now keep in mind, so we live in a world where um, the media landscape is completely different, you know? And you're also seeing a concerted effort taking place to try to censor these things, and people becoming silenced if you're not talking about, um, you know, if you're not playing the game and talking about what it is that um, might be an outside opinion of what the narrative has been for a while. I hope that makes sense. Jeez, that sounded sort of sloppy, but you know, we're freestyling here. Bear with me. But yeah, like the vaccine, right? Like um, COVID-19 in the first place. You know what I mean? 6 feet and all this different stuff, and wearing masks, and Dr. Fauci, and you know, these major corporations and pharmaceutical companies that were just fucking doing what they do and getting away with. Do you say unaliving now? What the fuck? If I sound sort of disjointed, it's because I feel that this information is important to share, and I don't want you to think that I'm just sort of self-editing, self-censoring to appease anything. It's just because of the fact that I feel that the information is, or the conversation is important to open up, and I know that there is shadow banning, right, and things like that. So I want the information to get across, right? But and I do have a little bit of a fear of it um, being clipped and taken down or banned or something like that for um, standards and practices of these social media entities, which I use, right, to relay whatever's in my heart and mind and spirit. So excuse me, but I'm new to this. If you have any suggestion, please, please let me know. I don't know. So yeah, man, it's getting thick out there. God damn. See, I bet you I could say goddamn though, right? And that'll probably be fine. Yeah, so we're seeing it, right? And there's so much that I even there's so much going on that I didn't write a list down to go over, but I like I said a lot of what I'm doing here with the podcast is to open up the dialogue and the conversation so that like-minded people or even people that are sort of unaware of some of this stuff can come together and say, is this shit happening? Wait, what? Is it happening or is it not happening? Because we can't get all of our information from just social media. We definitely can't get it from the regular cable news outlets or anything like that. So we got to start speaking with each other, right? We got to start opening up that engagement and say, wow, what, you know, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's a drone, it's a UAP, it's a smudge on the camera, it's Jesus. I don't know, right? Um, but something is afoot. And not only is it a foot, no, it's not a foot. It's here. We're here in these moments of time which things are becoming revealed, right? So if something is afoot, then it would behoove you to become grounded. Oh, fuck. I don't know. Toe the line. I'm such a fun guy. Foot fun guy. Yeah. Oh, so what was I saying? That yeah, there's so many other different things in here. Let me shift my sort of energy for a little bit. Yeah, so whether that's look, what's happening in Gaza on the Gaza Strip, what's happening in Ukraine and Russia, what happened in Maui, what's happening in Ohio, okay, um, we're just sort of forgetting these things because they are washed out of the news cycle, right? And because of the fact that our attention spans are being conditioned intentionally to just sort of move on to the next thing and scroll and do the dance shit, whatever the dance is. So little challenges and shit like that. Here's a fucking challenge. Go inward, turn off your shit, your device, and you know, start seeing how these things make you feel, right? I know that that sounds sort of, and I'm not, preaching here or anything like that, but it's easy to get distracted, because they're good at what they do. They, you know, it is all connected. It is. So, uh, so good luck out there. Bye. No, I'm just kidding. So do what you can, you know. Do what you're being called to do. Do what spirit is guiding you to do, right? Nobody has to do anything, right? But as the moments pile up in the now and 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 the now now settle your black ass down now. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Yuletide carols being sung by a choir and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows some turkey and some mistletoe helps to make the season bright. Ah, Merry Christmas to you. They say that Satan's on his way. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so excuse me. Sorry about that. Prepare, you know? Yeah, so I know, again, disjointed, yeah. But intercontinental ballistic long range missiles being given out, right, as stocking stuffers to Ukraine, right? It's happening, guys. This stuff is real. Um, Now, are we able to transcend whatever we think the outcome of these things are? You know, what do you think the outcomes of long range ballistic intercontinental missiles are? What at, at the worst, right? What do you think the fallout, circle back there, um, would be if we continue to allow genetically modified and engineered food? What happens if we continue to allow governments to dictate what it is that we say and do? What about the education system? Are we going to allow this propagated false information to continue to condition our children and coming generations to still keep eating this diet of bullshit? What is the fallout from that? I'll tell you what it is. It's essentially history repeating itself, right? Or a continuity of the unsustainable thing. So I'm not an anarchist. I'm not saying let it burn. Yeah, no, no. Yeah. California, yeah, no. No, yeah, yeah. No, no. Yeah. What I'm saying is just be aware that trying to maintain these structures as they have been in the past is not beneficial to the mass, is you and I and the 99%, not to use that thing, but you know what I mean, right? So that was a little dark, you know, but that is necessary. We have to become aware of these things once again, in order for us to um, understand where it is that we want to go, what kind of changes we want to make, what are we changing from. If we don't see that there's a problem right now, right? We don't have to see it as good, bad, light, dark, all this stuff. But if we see it as something that's like, I don't want this anymore. I want to eat real food. You know what I mean? I want real food. Then then something's got to give. And if we all, let me not put the proverbial cart before the horse, because I was going to say if we all come together, then we can create a dynamic shift at this precipice of change. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I have to heal. I have to craft and gain clarity. I have to be accountable. I do. Hey, you do what you want. You do what you feel. I want to maintain and grow my level of integrity, my involvement in the support of my fellow men and women I want to make sure that my cage isn't rattled by what these people are doing out there, that I am educated enough to say, that strawberry is plastic. I don't want that lab meat. And hey, so if you're vegetarian, okay, great. I don't want that lab cabbage, that labbage, that garbage. Yeah, so so it starts with the individual, right? So I'll say it starts with me, you know, sitting and becoming still and engaging the gratitude of just being here and saying, wow, shit, okay. Yeah, there's a lot going on, but what am I grateful for? I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful that I do have food to eat, that I have water to drink, that I have 7-Eleven cookies to eat, you know? Once again, not promoting 7-Eleven cookies for $1.79. Jeez, they're delicious. But I got to take that off of my, you know, my go-to. Oh shit. Oh, here, look, I'll show you. I'm doing better. Shit. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you that I'm doing better. These. Look at these. Mm. Wait, can you see it? Mm. Blueberries. So, yeah, we all know, right? Deep within us, there's certain changes that we want to make, or maybe more at the forefront of our consciousness. It doesn't necessarily have to be back there, but there's certain changes that we want to make, right? Sometimes we don't even know why, right? We don't always have to know why. We just know that we want to shift. But so like I was saying, there's always that point of reference that we have to say, uh, I'm not comfortable with this anymore. I much like to change that and be more like this. And that is, of course, a process, right? The journey. But, and I'll use this as an example. This is coming to my consciousness, into my prayers, into my meditation, into my sharing with others. We think about expansion and growth, and we automatically look out and say, "Whoa, that's what that expansion to expand." that's that's all you're getting from me as far as the definition. I'll look it up to give you a more proper description, if you like. But when we think of expansion, I think a lot of us start looking at the end result, and that's fine. But we don't all often look at what that expansion actually really consists of, which means that you have to expand from a certain point, right? That is your point of reference. That is your 0 point. That is yourself, your inside, your interior, the space that in which we start from. Expansion, the action of becoming larger or more extensive. I thought it was going to be a bit more profound than that. Extension of a state's territory by encroaching on that of other nations. Well, here we go. Pursued as a political strategy. A thing formed by the enlargement, broadening, or development of something. So we're the something. You're the something. I'm the something. I am the human being. right? And I want to expand. I want to evolve, right? I want to become, I guess, more extensive. So another word, because look, there's a number of different ways that you can look at it, right? Increase in size, enlargement, extension, augmentation, right? But the first one that shows up to similar as is growth. We want to grow, we want to evolve, right? We want to be better. So we have to start from 0 point. We have to start from where we're at. And how do we do that, right? We always look up, down, side to side, backwards, forwards, all this shit. Oh, there's inside and outside. And in order to expand, we must go inward, you know? And what do we expand? We expand our understanding of things too. We expand our knowledge and clarity. And then the use of this clear understanding of the data in which we're bringing in use and experience, it becomes wisdom. I'm not saying let's all become wise or anything, or that's what, but when you think about it, especially within the spiritual community, everybody's using the word enlightenment. I think it's overused, quite frankly. Just look to be better every day. If there's something within you that says I'm not quite, you know, you know, and then it's an interesting thing, and maybe I'm grabbing at swizzle sticks here. But I think that when we look to things external to ourselves, and that's sort of what is controlling our gauge, and so far as what we look up to, what we see value in, then you got to ask yourself, what are you looking to expand to? What is what motivates you? Are you trying to just get a new Porsche or a new Rivian or a new Land Rover? Oh, Defender. I love that truck. That Birkin bag, more views, more likes. You know, I don't know. What holds value to you for you? Yeah. So, hey, I don't want to sound like I'm, on a soapbox or anything like that. I'm just sharing with you my experience and how I feel, I guess, right? I have no opinion as to what it is that you do. I do feel and have some gnosis that if we are all individually looking to better ourselves to some capacity, then that frequency, that energy, and I know I don't use these words and terms lightly, that radiates outwardly and connects. So if we're all doing that, that does lend itself to the collective consciousness. All that is, and we can make a dynamic shift take place. As a matter of fact, we're doing it now. We're in a this space of overlapping timelines. So we're at the precipice of this shift. We're like this, right? Things are going like that. And we're sort of in between and seeing all these Mandela effects and saying, wait, I thought it was Berenstein Bears. Or I thought Betty White died or Bob Barker did. Yeah, people are just sort of confused. Listen, this is not the most important thing in the world. but enough to become acutely aware of to a degree and then detach so that we can take the information that we're looking at and go inward and process it properly and say, this does not serve. And I think that innately, you know, within our nature, we want to help. We want to see things better for ourselves and for our fellow men, our fellow human, right? We start losing our humanity in ways and become very desensitized. What's happening right now is that we're becoming disillusioned, and it's going all over the place. Probably much like me in this podcast. It's going all over the place. So you want to find tribe and you want to find people that you can depend on and you want to find community, and that will come too, but we got to really do the work individually. What does that consist of for you? For me, here, I'll share something with you. For me, it's been, especially on this iteration, it's been about like 7 years, where I was pretty ill. Um, I was fighting some things in my life, um, and I wanted to be better. One of the main things that I was asking for was patience, tolerance, different type of temperament, because I used to be a hothead. You know, I didn't like start shit all the time or anything like that, but I sort of basked in it. I sort of it fed something in me, to be right, to be argumentative, to you know overpower, to control, you know. And I went on this journey, 7 years ago to say, what the fuck? I am not. This is not me. I don't like it. It's not me. It's manifesting itself into all these different things. And what happened was, I recognized that there is a sense of radical acceptance and accountability that has to come for the individual in order, excuse me, for them to authentically, truly begin to move forward. Got to own your shit, right? Not blame, right? Because also fundamentally, I understand that as time is a construct, right? It's subjective. Everybody gets the same amount of it, right? But um, what's happened has happened. What hasn't happened, all that there is the present moment. And I think that as individual human beings, we all get a sense somehow, some way, a tugging that says, "I don't. This isn't me. That's not what I want. What I'm doing right now in this moment. This isn't it." You know. So I went on a journey of engaging those parts of myself, elements that were sort of narcissistic, things because of my upbringing. I said, I do not want to be like him or that, you know. And I'm not shitting on my dad or anything like that. We have the name, I have his namesake. My dad's name was Spencer Polk. I'm Spencer Kyoshi Polk, right? And there are things that I appreciate from him, but there were things growing up and even into deep into my adulthood where I say I never want to be like that. I never want to do that. I never want to make anyone feel like that, And I had to engage that fully and be honest and recognize these things within myself. I couldn't blame him. I couldn't blame my circumstances and environment. I could see what type of conditioning I was under. But as a grown man, as a grown human being, I had to say, this is all me, though. especially if I'm aware that I don't want to be something. And then I look and I'm like, I'm sort of that. Ugh, fuck. How do I make these changes? And first and foremost, it became abundantly clear to me that I needed to really just sit and engage this stuff from a very honest place. That consisted of, um, you know, I wasn't one to really reach out for help much. Um, I would, like, I can handle it myself. I'm prior military. I grew up as the eldest brother, handling business all the time. I don't like to. And then I came to a tipping point where I was snapping and I was boo 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 boo, and I had to reach out and ask for some help, and that was, um, you know, beneficial for me. It allowed me to at least become still enough and be outside of the drinking and all these other different things. And what that is I went to the psych ward for a little bit, the padded cells. I was already sort of out there, but what happened was it was just sort of stacking up on me, and because of the fact that I'm very self-aware, to be living the kind of lifestyle that I was and being the type of person that I didn't want to be, but being aware of that, man alive, that's some deep shit, some deep doo doo. And so I had to reset. And so, yeah, I went into the psych ward 5150, just sharing all this stuff with you. I hope you don't mind. And, it was enough to allow me to at least just sort of separate from what it was that I thought that my life was, and not talking about disassociating, but just taking a small break and saying out loud, I think that something's off here, right? And that little bit of time was what allowed me to then breathe and find my breath and find um, the ability to become meditative and to handle my shit, my side of the street. Um, you know, and that radical acceptance. And it ain't pretty. Sometimes it can be. I don't know. That at a certain point, what started happening to me was that I would see that which was becoming a challenge to me or hard started to slowly, through meditation, those things that I perceived to be challenging or obstacles or depressing or stressful or just like, oh, things that I didn't want to face. I started seeing these instances as opportunities to grow. You know, what do they call it? Doing the work, right? So to circle back around, um, all of us individually got a little something to do, don't we? And if we do that, if we begin that process, then I think that that all connects out there in the quantum field and collective consciousness. Us just simply recognizing that we like to be better for ourselves, for others, for ourselves first. Those things start connecting, and interesting little synchronicities and things start taking place in these. You start seeing more glimmers, right, than triggers. And the stories and the narratives that you had about yourself, that begins to dissolve, and you start recognizing that what you are in the moment, how you are in the moment, is and is what truly matters. These things connect. When we do that, We can move mountains. We can change the world. I truly believe that. Now, amidst that is the chaos of the 3D construct, the matrix, the world around us. We are given opportunities every day to become a bit more aware and clear on something and say, I don't want to go that way. I think I want to do this. Whether you feel that you're guided by your ancestors, by your cosmic family, by God, right? It's all divinity. This energy is divine. And, when I, I've had people come to me and whether they were being nice or not, or it was an insult, they say, "Oh, you're a spiritual person. You're very spiritual." And to my understanding, and this is not me teaching anyone anything, I hope. I don't know. Maybe it is teaching you something, and maybe that's beneficial to you. So if so, fuck it. Then I am teaching you something if you need it. And what that is, to me, fundamentally, within my understanding, is that I'm not a spiritual person. I'm spirit consciousness having the experience as a person. I am connected to the divine. I am the divine. I am love. I am joy. I am exuberance. I am perseverance. I am strength. I am growth now and now and now. I am connected to you. You are connected to me. How do we want to rock this shit? How do we want to navigate through? We choose. We have the choice. Let's not get it twisted. I know that there's a lot of shit out there, and I know that there's a lot of different things that seem like they're taking you down, you know? But you can transcend through it if you engage yourself in a truly authentic fashion and you find that level of radical acceptance and accountability. And naturally, it makes you want to help others because you know how it feels. So, yeah. So, I don't know what's going on out there. There's a lot of it, though. And, and it's all beautiful because it represents, believe it or not, a dynamic shift, a change coming, right? We have to know what is behind the curtain in order to really move forward. We got to know what's happening with Diddy and Jay-Z, I guess, allegedly. I guess we got to know what's happening with Bill Cosby, Dr. Huxtable, and R. Kelly. I believe I can. I'm not even going to. Copyright infringement, maybe. We got to understand what Bill Gates is up to. We got to understand what Klaus Schwab is up to. We have to understand what BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard are. Right now, we don't have to become emotionally attached and then daunted on by this crumbling, you know, dark energy. No, 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 no. We calibrate from within, we build from within to become the light that shines on these things and illuminates what is really going on for others to see, so that if they are in a moment of darkness and they cannot quite discern what is happening, at least we're shining that light. We can't take anyone with us, right? Individually, you cannot make somebody do something that they don't want to do. Hey, grow. Hey, become spiritually connected. Hey, become conscious. Become woke. Become no, 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 no. You do you. Right? Like the pilot says, "Cover your captain today for cruising altitude." No, but as they say, what is it? In case of an emergency or whatever, the turbulence and whatnot, and cabin pressure going down because of oxygen. When that mask comes down, they direct you to do what? Even before your own child, you put that mask on yourself first before trying to help anybody else out. We're no good to anyone unless we're good to ourselves. No, Spencer, define good. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. The thing for you. You know what I mean? Jelly bean, fructose corn syrup, red 40, blue, green. First on the scene, crispy and clean. You notice all these other celebrities that happen to leave the Diddy parties early? I don't know. I left early. The fuck out of here. Oh shit. I don't know, man. But it's crazy though, right? We got all kind of different people coming out with the woodworks. And here, let me give this as an example too. Excuse me. So sorry about that. Oof, that was a. Ooh, yeah. Um, if you know who Billy Carson is, he's like a self-proclaimed foremost leader in biblical scholarly things and the truth about the excerpts from the Bible and what the truths are about Jesus's life and stuff like that. Now, listen, he draws on a lot of information that is relevant and new to people who are just coming into this sort of thread of information. Okay. Recently, what happened was, as he said, I debate anybody. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm talking about, this, that, and the other. He's gained a lot of money and power from all this stuff. And people are really listening, like, wow, this is really cool. This brother, you know, sort of breaking down, you know, uh, what the Christian religion, the organized church has been sort of shoving down our throats as this propagated information. He's telling us something different, and people started really taking the shit in. He ended up having a debate after stating that he'd debate anybody in the world because he's the foremost leader, and he got his ass handed to him. He begged for them not to release the debate, and it came out, and then people were able to judge for themselves how that went. And he went into a panic and a tizzy and asked that it be removed and got mad, and then came out with this other video stating, oh, it's because I was sick and because they were trying to set me up and this, that, and the other. Listen, no matter what you think or believe regarding this, what I'm saying is that you don't need to invest your stock in any of these other people telling you that this is what it is, this is how it is, this is what it's going to be. Myself fucking included, right? What it is that it's up to you to look at this information and say, okay, that's sort of valuable. I don't have to invest all my, trust and belief in what this guy's saying, but okay, that sort of makes sense. That makes sense. Boop, I could go without that, and then keep it pushing. You know, we're meant to be coming in contact with um, very sensationalized, exaggerated, and amplified examples of opportunities for us to be using our discernment and sharpening that tool of intuition, right? Because you're going to start seeing it coming through where? The media landscape, right? But you're going to hear it through telephone, right? And then group chats and settings, and even in the real life, right? Which rarely exists, of people actually in front of each other having these discussions, right? And this just sort of giving off more and more sort of false information. Next thing you know, you have this trickle down effect of people being misled, even by those that say that they are looking to help. So it is up to you to help yourself, right? So you don't even have to become conscious of this guy that I just mentioned. Doesn't even have to serve you. I guess that what I'm saying is that there's a lot of information out there, and there's new information, and we're trusting the sources right out the gate sometimes because it sounds different, or we're making up our mind and saying, nope, that's not it. But what I'm saying is that it's very sort of almost black and white, and we're forgetting the nuance that exists within things, you know? Because we've been so accustomed and conditioned to choosing this one or that one, Republican or Democrat, black or white, Pepsi, Coke. Uh, right? 7-Eleven cookie or, you know, or this fucking cookie, right? This Japanese, let me show you this one. Delectable snack. Look at this guy, right? Okay. I'm not going to eat this on camera. But you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm a little disjointed. Yeah, I'm all over the place. I know you like it. It's what it is. I hope that this podcast thus far has been helpful. I know that I can rant and I can just sort of go, but I guess that's what it is. New Earth Architect. So the New Earth Architect concept, right? Let's call it a concept, whatever. I'm careful with my wording of things. I don't know. Whatever. New Earth Architect. You are the craftsman. You are the architect. You are the builder of the reality that you choose. And being that we are all sort of seeing this kind of crumbling of certain things, let's ask ourselves, what do we want to see moving forward? A lot of people took an emotional hit and a dump and an ideological bliss from the election, right? Well, fuck, he represents this and she represents that, and I didn't get my way, and now I'm fucking sad. What do you want moving forward? What do you want to see? Because the more time and energy that you end up spending on the problem, the less that you have to give to the solution. That's just how time and energy works, folks. But when we're caught in that echo chamber just bouncing around, right? It's hard to just sort of sit and be like, oh, oh yeah, what did I want? Me. What did I hope to see? What changed? Because as it stands right now, in the moment, in the now, in the now, in the now, these things are not impossible. Just because I didn't get my way, the politician that I wanted to win didn't win, so now nothing's gonna go the way I. Now we're gonna. Well, yeah, you keep that attitude. Get out of here. Get out of your head. Get into your heart. Get out of my dreams and into my car. To the beat of the rhythm of the night. You both gonna take that out to be the ghost inside. You can gonna turn it. Yeah. So I hope that you gather some tidbits along the way for this podcast. It's been nearly an hour. Man, I love you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody that's been sort of, sharing my information, commenting, giving feedback, saying, Yoshi, you suck. Or Yoshi, hey man, you helped me with some crazy shit, man. You made it make sense. Even though you sound, what I'm saying? To a lot of people, believe it or not, I actually make sense. Because I'm not talking about all the chakras and stuff. I know, look, there's a time and a place to really get into how frequency works and our astrology and the fact that we're meant to transcend our karma by repeating this and doing this and sort of tapping into this and the pineal gland and the Christ oil coming up through the spine and everything's gonna be fine. Just cross your legs and use this mudra. Right? I know that these things exist within me. The knowledge is there. I know. But I'm not a preacher and I don't preach to the choir. So if somebody's sort of new to this stuff, I hope it makes sense. And, I think that that's sort of, one of my gifts, you know, so that make some crazy shit make sense. Now I can get on a download mode. I don't know if I shared this with you. I download information, and isn't it crazy the kind of languaging that we use? I don't have the bandwidth. Oh, I download. You know what I'm saying? I like your input. You know, we're speaking like computers. But anyway, what I was going to say, there are infinite dimensions of my beingness, right? There's an authentic set spirit consciousness, and that is what it is. But insofar as how I present outward, it's not code switching, it's not doing anything like that. It's that depending on what I'm talking about will sort of dictate a little bit how it comes out. Because for the most part, I'm not always thinking from the intellectual space. I'm speaking from my heart. And sometimes that can sound like a different language. You know what I mean? So I love you all, and I do appreciate once again you guys tuning in and supporting. And the official launch of the podcast is going to be, inshallah, right? God, universe, source, creator willing, myself willing, should I do the diligence that's necessary in order for me to craft this perfect release of the perfect podcast, the new Earth Architects. January 1st. I mean, January 11th, 2025 will be the official release date, and that's where you'll be able to see this podcast on Spotify, Rumble, where there is no censorship, Apple streaming, YouTube, and then any other ones that I might sort of wander up to and find is useful to um, share this information. Hey, and I want to say this in the video. Please feel free, comment, share, like, and not just because I want to sell t-shirts and monetize this thing and save my back a little bit, my L4, my L5, my fractured wrist and my, rheumatoid arthritis in my right hip. It's not like I want you to like and follow and share and subscribe so for that so I can sell T-shirts and bumper stickers and keychains, but sort of. I, I love what I do as a builder, as a craftsman, but I like to balance it out a little bit more. So, when I launch this podcast, I'll be doing it in earnest and making sure that, I'm sort of setting myself up to where I can uh, do it more and not feels like such a pressing engagement with my time because of the fact that I work very hard physically. Anyway, so yeah, thank you so much for joining the New Earth Architect podcast. I hope that some of the information in which I gleaned upon resonated with you. Whether they're UFOs, UAPs, um, dirty little diddlers, or funky Jay-Z's. Just pay attention, become as clear as possible. Make sure that you sit and find some stillness, recalibrate yourself through your breath. Understand that you being here is a blessing, not just to and for yourself, but to me as well, to all of humanity. You know what I mean? We're all here for a reason. We don't have to keep digging for that purpose necessarily. When we become still enough, that will be shown to us. Ask for the guidance if you need to. But until then, love, light, and blessings. Once again, thank you so much. I enjoyed your company, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Keep forgetting, not in love, baby. It was a clear.